What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to bring you guys my team selection for the upcoming Game Week 16. So as we usually do, going to take a quick look and recap of Game Week 15 and just see how my squad got on. They're going to talk about the transfer plan and finally the team selection leading up to the upcoming Game Week 16 deadline. Talking about the deadline, I wanted to give you guys a reminder that it is going to be a Friday night, morning, afternoon, wherever you guys are around the world, but the deadline will be on Friday, so please pay attention to that and make sure it's on your calendar. I probably will be doing a deadline stream though, so if you guys don't want to miss out on kind of a notification, just put the bell notifications for YouTube or just follow me on Twitter and put notifications on there, because I always do give an announcement when I do go live for my deadline stream. But now getting back to the video, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. But before that, a quick word from our sponsor. This video has been sponsored by fantasyfootballfix.com. Use the website or their newly updated application. Make use of their price predictor tool to check your own players' prices as well as who's dropping and rising in price. Improve your rank by making use of their advanced tools as well as the algorithm, which helps back up your own FPL decisions. Win your mini leagues by keeping track of your main mini league rivals. Upload your FPL squad for free at fantasyfootballfix.com. So the big news that's come out over the past couple of days, it's going to be all about Spurs and their outbreak at the club. So at the current moment, as of recording this video, which is going to be on a Wednesday afternoon, Spurs have a current 8 first team players as well as a couple members of staff that have tested positive. They also have applied for a postponement of the upcoming Brighton game in Game Week 16, and that is done by case basis. It's not really like they have to hit a certain amount of positive players. The FA will approve it or deny it depending on kind of the circumstances, but I am going to tell you guys that it's probably going to be postponed, to be honest. So it is a little bit unfortunate for us Spurs and Brighton owners, as obviously we can't really prepare for these scenarios, and it's a bit annoying from an FPL point of view because it's out of our hands completely. The other unfortunate thing is that we don't really know when this postponed fixture will take place, but Ben Crellin has kind of put out there that it could be played in Game Week 21. However, the Game Week 21 double or triple game week, whatever it's going to be, also depends on some other circumstances of tournaments and those certain scenarios. So at the current moment, I think that we can't really prepare for when this postponement will be. So at the current stage, just assume that the Game Week 16 fixture isn't going to happen. Another thing that I also wanted to bring up is that the Game Week 17 fixture against Leicester could also potentially be under threat, and I do think there could be a postponement for that one as well, because if these players have tested positive, they're going to be unavailable for a couple of days due to the kind of isolation that these players have to go under, and therefore on Thursday, when they're meant to take on Leicester, I don't think that game's going to go ahead as well. Obviously though, wait for more official news. Maybe the FA doesn't kind of approve this postponement, and then we could actually have a fixture in Game Week 16 for these respective clubs. But as I mentioned, from my own personal point of view, I do think the game will be postponed. But now going on to the Game Week 15 team review, and the quicker I get through this review the better, because unfortunately Game Week 15 was not a great game week for my own personal team. So the overall points for Game Week 15 are going to come in at 39 points, which I think was just on the average, but unfortunately that was going to give us a red arrow. That red arrow took us to just above the 210k mark, so it seems like we've done a lot of work getting up the ranks, and unfortunately all that good work has completely been to waste, because the past couple game weeks have been red arrow, red arrow, red arrow. So as I mentioned, just above that 210k mark, but hopefully in the upcoming game weeks over this festive period we can have quite a good festive period and get a few green arrows, and we'll be back to where we were a couple of game weeks ago. I'm going to start off with the bench here because there was a couple of bench options that I wanted to kind of focus on. Ben Foster was out with the injury, and Smith Rowe unfortunately didn't feature for Arsenal against Everton on Monday night, and that resulted in him getting 0 points and Adam Armstrong coming on for only 1 point. So Antonio was actually third on my bench, and I wasn't ever going to kind of play him considering the fact that I did own Alonso and Reece James, and I actually come out of that game a little bit lucky because Antonio only got 1 assist even though West Ham scored 3 goals, and this shows you the continued thread of West Ham scoring a couple but Antonio not really being involved at all. Luckily in Game Week 15, if you guys did start him, he actually did get an attacking return, 1 assist. In past couple game weeks he's got 0 attacking returns, so maybe he's on the upwards, and in the Game Week 16 he can get us some more. And the final player to talk about is going to be Douglas Luiz, involved in that Aston Villa win over Leicester, but unfortunately he didn't get any attacking returns, but still looks like a relatively good option at 4.5 million. But now going on to the starting 11, which wasn't too exciting, especially in the defensive departments. Now in game week 15, the majority of our club actually did have away fixtures, which can be a little bit annoying because this season we've seen the return of the home advantage with those fans, and therefore the away fixtures carry a little bit less expectation, and maybe I should have seen it coming in game week 15. But Sanchez getting 3 points, Brighton unfortunately not keeping a clean sheet, but at least Sanchez did get a save point here, outscoring Ramsdale yet again. In game week 16, probably won't happen because Sanchez doesn't have a fixture, but 3 points in game week 15, relatively respectable as there wasn't too many clean sheets. That lack of clean sheets kind of continues throughout our defense. Ben White not getting a clean sheet, I simply played him as a little bit of coverage for the highly owned Ramsdale. He didn't get any points, only 1, conceding 2, which was going to be a -1, so only resulting in 1 appearance point. That was 1 point higher than Reece James picking up a yellow card in basically the last minute of that fixture against West Ham. I already spoken about the 3-2 loss that they did kind of have against West Ham, and unfortunately that was going to be a wipeout for our double Chelsea defense of Alonso and Reece James. Now Alonso also did actually exit the game with an injury, but it seems like he has recovered from that injury. Just maybe stay confirmed tonight when they do take on their last Champions League rivals, and I am hoping for an Alonso benching. Cancelo with only 2 points, also not getting a clean sheet. Yet another game that he's actually featured in, and he also didn't pick up a yellow card. So he still is on that suspension tightrope, picking up, I think, 4 yellow cards, has to get 5 for a suspension. So let's just hope over this festive period, the Portuguese international manages to remain out of the referee's book. But the final player, luckily Trent, being quite a consistent returner over these past couple game weeks, picking up a clean sheet and I think maximum bonus points to no, not an assist there for Trent, but relatively good game for Liverpool overall. Defensively looked quite assured. From an attacking point of view, that was a different story, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. So overall, the big at the back defense wasn't too great this game week. In the past couple of game weeks, we've had some nice returns, but we might see a shift out of this formation, especially because Chelsea are lacking those clean sheets. But now going on to our midfield department, let's start off with Mo Salah kind of getting an assist at the last minute of that fixture to secure the dub against Wolves. So a little bit lucky on that one, but I do think he took the assist quite well. Had a couple of chances throughout the game, but everyone's kind of captaining Mo Salah at the end of the day. But this definitely was the game week to captain someone like a Son, and he would have risen the ranks quite quickly. Mbeumo finally getting us an attacking return, even though it was only going to be an assist. An assist or extra points from Mbeumo are absolute gold, considering the fact that he's been super disappointing over these last couple of game weeks. And I am hoping that in game week 16, we are going to play him against Watford. He can get another attacking return for the first time in 2 consecutive game weeks. And our final midfielder, Diego Jota. What's more to say about Jota than a massive miss against his old club? Don't you know how he ended up missing? No goalkeeper in the net, managed to shoot it straight at Connor Cody. Great save, to be honest, from him, but I don't think he knew too much about it. But Jota, very disappointed that he didn't get a return, but also with his high ownership, he's becoming like a Trent and Salah, where if they get a return, it's good, but if they don't, it's not the end of the world. But it's going to be the end of the world for a certain man in our FPL team, and that's going to be Harry Kane. A massive 2 points yet again from the English striker, and considering his price tag at about 12.2 million, that's too many 2s in the price tag, too many 2s in the past couple of game weeks, and that's why I think the English striker is going to be out of my team after this lack of goals that he has had this Premier League season. Now against Norwich, I do think there were a couple of chances that he did have, but he was outshone by his colleagues Lucas Moura and Heung-min Son. But the interesting thing about Harry Kane is that when you do look at his expected goals over this Premier League season, he's actually underperformed severely and Heung-min Son has overperformed. So I do think bringing Harry Kane over Son was a little bit unlucky in this scenario, but we have to face the consequences of being severely punished for not going for the South Korean. And then finally, Adam Armstrong, a player that was never going to feature for our starting 11 after some rotation concerns. Those concerns were actually true. Broja did start instead of Adam Armstrong in the Southampton starting 11. So it looks like Adam Armstrong has yet again lost his starting 11 to the younger striker. But overall, happy game week 15 is out of the way, and we can now focus on some hopefully happier game weeks from game week 16 onwards. So I mentioned it in the Game Week 15 review, and I mentioned Harry Kane, his dismal performances over these past couple game weeks. I want to get him out, and I want to bring in CR7 for that lovely run of Man United fixtures. Those fixtures kick off in Game Week 16 with a lovely fixture, probably one of the best to have at the current moment against Norwich away, and I will be monitoring the situation with Ronaldo tonight in the Champions League, and I really do hope that he is benched and rested against Young Boys. Now, there actually has been a really big indication that he will be rotated or rested by the Manchester United manager, because in the press conference, he came out and said that Nemanja Matic will be the captain, and therefore most people are assuming that Ronaldo will be benched because he would have taken the captaincy armband. So if that wasn't enough to convince you, there is another factor with Harry Kane and Spurs. Spoke about it early on in the video. Their fixture against Brighton will probably be postponed, and therefore I do think this away game might be the one to take him out for. Now, I have not locked this transfer in, even though Ronaldo did rise in price. I'm waiting for as long as possible. There's too much concerns about the current situation in the Prem, and therefore I want to get as much news as possible from those press conferences coming up tomorrow and also on Friday. One thing that I also am keeping my eyes on is going to be the Norwich scenario, because if Spurs played Norwich last weekend, there could be some concerns about an outbreak at that respective club, and therefore if Norwich have an outbreak and they're going to postpone the United game, I don't want to bring Ronaldo in for game week 15. Now, I forgot to mention that I do have 2 free transfers for the upcoming game week, and therefore I'm also considering some other moves. A Sanchez to a David De Gea could be one that I do consider, but I do think a goalkeeper transfer might be a little bit sideways at the current moment, as a goalkeeper doesn't have that high of a ceiling. Other moves also is an Adam Armstrong out for a Josh King or a Dennis. Personally, do prefer Josh King, but I think I would rather wait till next week where I can maybe fit in a Man City midfielder. Let me know in the comments down below, what move are you guys doing this week? Are you also doing the Kane to Ronaldo? Probably a popular move. Or if you do own Heung-min Son, are you taking him out, downgrading him, and upgrading one of your forwards to CR7? And now finally, the Game Week 16 team, which will hopefully yield us a green arrow, but with some players missing due to that postponement potentially, I'm just hoping that the red arrow isn't too big. Luckily in Game Week 16, polar opposite of Game Week 15 and Game Week 14, we have a load of home fixtures here, so theoretically, we should have a pretty good game week. I'm going to start off with the bench there because we do have 1 or 2 options that I could potentially play if my starting 11 are injured. I've got Ben Foster here who won't be playing until early Jan, so I'm not going to be focusing on him, but Ben White against Southampton, interesting little alternative there, considering that it is a home fixture for Arsenal. Adam Armstrong, the reverse fixture there, but I don't think he'll play. I think that Breuer with that goal in Game Week 15 has kind of locked down that spot, and then Douglas Luiz against Liverpool won't play in my team at all. But going on to my starting 11, and with Sanchez, I've mentioned a question mark with his fixture because I do think this fixture will be postponed, and therefore I won't have a goalkeeper, which is a little bit worrying at the current moment. I guess a way I could see it is that this will be a transfer for a -2 if I take a hit, because he doesn't have a fixture at all. But I just think with Sanchez, I want to kind of hold on to him for at least the medium term, and if that double game week, triple game week does come up shortly, at least I will have him without a transfer. But it definitely is something I'm going to have to look over. I'm going to have to run the predicted points, run the stats, and see if I will make that transfer and if it's actually worth using my second free transfer on a goalkeeper. But the backline is relatively good fixtures. We've got James and Alonso versus Leeds. Leeds without Bamford and Calvin Phillips potentially. That should increase the chances of them getting a clean sheet, because I think every time Phillips is out of that lineup, they've looked a little bit bad, and Leeds at the current moment aren't playing attacking wise at their highest potential. So therefore, James and Alonso could get us a clean sheet. Hopefully, this is going to be the game week for it in game week 16. But with James and Alonso, always do offer some attacking threat going forward. Cancelo and Trent also kind of replicate that attacking form, but they also have some great fixtures. Man City take on Wolves at home. Cancelo rested in the Champions League, thankfully. Hopefully he doesn't pick up a yellow card here. But like when we saw Wolves against the Liverpool, I think they're going to sit back, and I think that Cancelo will get in some great attacking positions. The Aston Villa game against Liverpool is a little bit tough to call. Stevie G coming back to Anfield. This game could be close or could be quite wide open, but Trent does offer defensive and attacking threat, so hopefully he can get us some FPL points. And going on to our midfield department, Mo Salah will yet again be our captain as of now. If Ronaldo is going to be playing against Norwich, that is quite an enticing option there. Has better form than Harry Kane, but that Aston Villa at home game should be quite a good one from a Liverpool point of view. Jota was also rested in the Champions League. However, I do think he missed training on Monday, so he might actually have an injury there. So just monitor the situation and hope that Klopp comes out and says on Thursday or Friday that he's back in the starting 11. Smith Rowe's also an injury doubt here. He wasn't training and didn't travel to Liverpool for that Everton game on Monday, so a little bit concerned about him, and I do hope Arteta gives us a realistic update and an honest update, because if he doesn't start, I might actually take him out this game week. Mbeumo though, yes, I still do have Mbeumo in my starting 11. I still am playing him. I know I'm quite a crazy FPL manager at the current moment, but against Watford aside that haven't been defending well, Mbeumo guaranteed to start with everyone else at striker kind of suspended and also injured with Ivan Toney. Mbeumo guaranteed to play, and hopefully against Watford he can be the main focal point in that attack. And then finally going on to our 2 forwards, even though Ronaldo has not been transferred in, he's looking like the most likely transfer this week, and therefore I have included him in my Game Week 16 team selection with a lovely fixture against Norwich away. Now I do think he'll be benched tonight in the Champions League, so therefore he should be fit and raring to go for the upcoming game week and the future game weeks, to be honest. I don't think Ronaldo will be benched that much over this festive period, and therefore I hope that he can continue the form he's had this Premier League season and score us a couple goals for Christmas. And then our final player to go for, returning to the starting 11, is going to be Antonio from West Ham. Great fixture against Burnley away, a side that's also been struggling this season, so no kind of excuses for Antonio this time. Hopefully he can get back on the scoring wagon. But overall, the team actually looks quite solid. There are some concerns though. Sanchez, Smith Rowe, hopefully we get some news about these two options. That Sanchez fixture probably will be missing out, and therefore I will, as I said, run some stats and predicted points to see if I want to take a second transfer on a goalkeeper. But I probably will hold my transfers for as late as possible, and therefore I hope that you guys join me in the deadline stream coming up on Friday night, where I will lock in those moves as long as we don't have price rises between now and then. But this is basically wrap the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new and have not subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys, as I said, for the deadline stream, otherwise for the ultimate guide coming up tomorrow. So make sure you drop your questions and your queries down below, and I'll be sure to get to them. I'm going to be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.